So Ryan Reynolds recently sat down to explain why he personally thought Green Lantern failed. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of Green Lantern, not the movie, but the character, or DC in general, and are interested in DC updates, then please consider subscribing to the channel, as it really does help support us and reach more people like you. Thanks so much. Let's get into it. Ryan Reynolds, a very beloved actor and an actor I personally really like. I'm sure a lot of you guys do as well. Played Green Lantern in the 2011 film. I think we all know this. It was a hot mess of a movie. And even though I really liked his portrayal, I thought he was very charismatic and entertaining as Hal Jordan, it wasn't good enough to overcome the giant heads, the floating cloud monsters, the terrible CGI, the wonky stories, the plot holes, all of that mess. And Ryan Reynolds basically summed it up. I'm not going to read the entire quote, but basically he summed up the failure of the movie as to too much time and too much money. It's a perfect example of when too much time is spent on recutting, rethinking, re-editing, and doubting yourself, doubting your own movie, and having too many cooks in the kitchen. Too much time to be able to bounce ideas off of each other and off the wall, and not being able to decide on one singular plot point, one singular story, so throwing multiple in there. But also trying to fast track and get through it as fast as you can, and instead of focusing on the character and the story and the character-driven motivations and maybe some of the emotional motivations, focusing on the visual effects. And believe it or not, they were just so much more focused on adding more visual effects. They weren't as focused on perfecting those visual effects that they had already added to the movie. So I do think it's a little interesting that this is coming out now. I mean, it's stuff that we've kind of heard before and stuff that, sure, we've probably already knew, but it is a prime example of when a studio is not only interfering with a movie too much, potentially, also having too many cooks in the kitchen, but also throwing too much money and not enough creative ideas and actually effort into a proper story. But what do you guys think about these comments? And are you a fan of the Green Lantern movie? Did you think it was terrible? Whatever you think, I'd love to hear what you guys think about all of this. And do you think that there was any way they could have saved the movie? I mean, Melonhead was quite the villain.